Yeah. So just now we saw, right, one example how to write lambda expressions, and we understood what are all the rules we have to follow to write the lambda expression. So now let's see one small example how it's going to make a difference in our day-to-day programming. Okay. So let's assume that we have a list of numbers. Okay. So the best way to create numbers quickly is as list, and here I will pass 1, 2. Yeah. So if just my requirement is just simply iterating this list, right? I want to just simply iterate this list. So for example, if you are using older versions of Java, like JDK 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, right? If you are using these kind of versions, yeah. How exactly we used to write our for loops, right? We use for loop, like int I equals to 0, I less than numbers dot size, then to do increment, right? I plus plus, finally numbers dot get of I, get of I, and wrap this inside the system. Right? This is what it happens. This is what we used to do just to iterate one for loop. If I run the code, I will get the output printed on the console, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fine. So this is most complicated way of writing, Excuse me. So we are doing so many things, right? We are initializing a variable, right, of type int. Then we are checking, right, till how many times it has to loop, and we are incrementing it, and we are calling a getter method, and we are passing this integer. Right? It looks pretty easy. We are doing this for so many years, right? Writing a for loop is an easy thing for us, but it is the most complicated way of doing an iteration of for loop, right? The iteration of a list, simple number list we are printing in the console. For that, we are writing so much of code, right? So we might have we feel something we are not. We are not writing so many things, and we are doing it very easily. But little complicated things we are doing, right? We are assigning a variable, we are initializing it, declaring, initializing, and condition, incrementation, and getting the data, printing the data on the console, right? So this can be simplified using JDK 1.8 for each loop, right? Little simplified for each integer, right? Each integer or each number, the number from numbers, print the down the console. Instead of saying numbers again, you can say number, right? And we'll get the same output. So this is JDK 1.5 feature, right? So the first one is JDK 1.02 till 1.4, and the second one is JDK 1.5 feature. So just to iterate a simple list, either you have to write, but anyway, the first one is most complicated version, right? The first one is most complicated version. You may feel it is easy, but still you are doing so many things inside that for loop, right? So the first one is most complicated thing. So when we compare with the enhanced for loop which got introduced with JDK 1.5, okay. So with JDK 1.8, there is a new feature added called for each. Okay, for each method in iterable interface. Iterable interface. By using that for each, you can easily print the data. By using that for each, you can easily print the data. For example, okay, before we go and see example, let's see what is that for each. Okay, so let's go to list. The list implements collection. I don't know whether you noticed or not. Collection implements. So collection is a child of iterables, right? So this has iterator, and this is what the new method which got introduced with JDK 1.8. JDK 1.8. And what is a benefit you gonna get by using this for each? Let's go back to the loops which we wrote. Okay, so the code which we wrote here, we call them as external loops. What type of loops we are using? External loops. We as a developer, we are defining these loops, right? We are creating them, we are iterating them, right? For example, if you look at this for each, for int I equals to 0, right? This for loop. So we are doing so many things. Who is controlling actually this for loop? As a developer, we are doing it, right? So we are writing external loop to print the data. But if you use this for each loop, if you use this for each loop, okay, and we no need to worry, actually we no need to write any for loop, you no need to write any for loop. So you just print the data on the console, you just print the data on the console. So JDK will write a loop for you, JDK will write a loop for you. What loop they are writing? It is enhanced for loop, right? Enhanced for loop. But we no need to worry about this for loop, right? We are not going to write any for loop. So if you don't write the loop and somebody is doing that for loop, right? If somebody is going to write a loop for you, then that what we call it as inner loops, right? That's what we call it as inner loop. So the implementation is going to be hide, right? So the how we are going to write a for loop, it's completely hidden, right? That is going to be done by some other person, right? That is going to be done by some other person. So you just need to say what that for loop has to do. For example, I do something like this: members dot I call for each, right? And here I say here I say small thing, but before that, look at the signature of for each. What you have to pass for this for each? Consumer, right? What you have to pass? Consumer. This we already discussed. This is one of the predefined functional interface from Java, right? You need to pass implementation of this consumer. So what is the implementation of this consumer? What you have to override? You have to pass the data, and it will return nothing, right? You have to pass some data, and it will return nothing. So I will do something like this, okay? So new consumer, first I will write an anonymous inner class, then I will try to convert that into lambda expression. New consumer, right? An anonymous inner class. And what type of this number? It is a type of integer, right? So my consumer also is a type of integer, and I should override a method accept, right? Accept. Inside this accept method, what I will do, I'll print the value of that number. I'll print the value of that number, right? So this is what we have to do. So what I did, I called for each loop. I called for each loop, but don't think we are writing too much code, because this is going to be reduced a lot when we use lambda expressions, right? It will be step-by-step process. It is going to be step-by-step process. I'm calling an inner for loop, right? I'm calling an inner loop. So by using JD, by using for each method, by calling for each method, but for each takes of type what? Consumer. So I'm passing consumer implementation. I'm passing consumer implementation. How I'm passing? I'm writing an anonymous inner class. So inside this method, this is what is my business logic. What is my business logic? So okay, so overall what we are doing, we are taking this list, we are taking this list, and for each, when I call for each, means we are going to take each element from this list, we are going to take each element from this list. And what is my business logic? Printing that list on the console. What is my business logic? Printing that value, that element value on the console. That is what is my business logic. So are you guys are clear what I'm trying to do here using this for each loop, for each method? So I'm not writing any loop here, right? I'm not writing any loop. I'm just writing a I'm writing a calling a method, right? This is not something new, right? We are calling one method. We are calling one method. Or let me put this separately to make it more clear for consume. What I will do, I will call this consumer as print number on console. What is my consumer name? Print number on console. So now I pass this in as a parameter to for each. right? I'm not doing anything new, right? I'm not doing anything new. So just simply calling a method. I'm simply calling a method, and in this method, what exactly I'm doing? I'm just simply calling a method, and in this method, what exactly I'm doing? I'm passing an object of consumer. I'm passing an object of consumer. So instead of doing this in multiple lines, is this clear, guys? Is this clear what I'm trying to do?
Yes, sir.
Can you repeat it one more time?
No, I'm just calling a method. I'm just simply calling a method, right? I'm just calling a method of called for each, and I'm passing this consumer object. I'm passing this consumer object because my for each is going to take consumer, right? It is going to expect of consumer, right? So that is what I'm doing here. I'm just simply creating an object for consumer, and I'm passing that as an object, as an argument. Okay. So, but what is going to happen in the background? This for each loop will take each element. This for each loop is going to take each element from this array list, and it's going to print on the console. This is what is my business logic. What is for each loop? I'm not writing the loop, right? I'm not like writing the loop. I'm just instructing. I'm just instructing print that value on the console. For every iteration, print the value on the console. I'm just instructing each iteration what it has to do, but I'm not writing the for loop. So when you don't write the for loop, that is what we call it as inner loop, right? If you write the for loop, then you can say you are writing an external loop, which means you are writing the loop, right? You as a developer, if you write the loop, that is an external loop. Somebody using annotations. Let me clear all the annotations. Okay, let me don't use this annotation. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So here what I'm doing, I'm just calling this method. I'm just calling this method, and I'm passing this object. And inside this object, what I'm instructing to my JVM for each element, right? You iterate the collection, and each element print that on the console. That is what I'm doing. Okay. It is going to be simplified a lot. Okay. It is not lambda expression, or we are not doing the code. I mean, we are not writing the code like, I mean, we are not following the best practice. We are just make things understand. We are just try to go for the next level. So before directly jump into the next level, right? I'm just uh, doing it in a easy way how we are doing till now. Okay, this is nothing new. We are calling a method. We are simply calling a method, and we are passing the object to that method. But what this method will do, it will iterate these numbers, it will iterate the numbers, and it will print each number on the console. How it is going to print, that is what is my implementation, right? I'm just saying sysout, system.out.println t. So this is what is the implementation. So this is the step one. So next step, what I will do, I will convert this into something like this for each. I'll convert this into something like this, creating an object separately and passing as an argument separately. Instead of doing that in the two lines, what I will do, I'll do this in a one line. I will do this in a one line. So this entire snippet is equivalent to this, right? This entire snippet is equivalent to this. There is no difference. Here what I am doing, I am creating an object, assigning it to a variable and passing the variable. But now what I am doing, I'm not assigning it to a variable. I am directly passing the object as an argument. I'm directly passing as an object as an argument, right? Simply calling a method and passing one object as an argument. Okay. So this is step 2. What is the step 3? Okay. This is an anonymous inner class, right? This is an anonymous inner class. I will convert this anonymous inner class into a lambda expression, right? Step 3. What I will do, I'll convert this anonymous inner class into lambda expressions. We know we need to provide implementation for consumer. So specifying implementation type is completely optional. So delete this, right? Scope not required, return type not required, method name not required. So what we have to add extra, we have to add this arrow. What we have to add extra, we have to add this arrow. And now, how many number of arguments we are passing? Only one, right? So specifying type we also not required, and we are passing only one, right? This is my lambda expression. This is step number 3. right? Converting an anonymous inner class to lambda expression is step number 3. So this is step number 1, writing a class and passing argument. Step number 2, instead of passing as a assign it to a variable and pass the variable, I directly pass the argument. Step number 3, I don't pass an anonymous class, I will pass what? A lambda expression. Let's simplify this lambda expression little bit more, right? When the argument count is exactly 1, specifying the parentheses are completely optional, and the implementation is exactly 1 line, specifying this curly braces also completely optional. Completely optional. So whatever we did with step 1, we did with step 4, still same. There is no difference. Okay, so this is step 1, step 2, step 2, step 3, and this is step 1. Right? If you are writing a JDK 1. If you are using JDK 1.8, okay, no need to write something like this. You have to write something like this. I know we feel little difficulty because this is what we are doing newly, right? Writing a lambda expression, we are doing it something new. That's why we feel little difficult, right? We can't directly understand what is this t arrow system.out.println and how the for each is going to print the data, right? If you can't able to do that in one go, then do something like this. First write a consumer implementation and pass the consumer implementation to for each method, right? So we are simply calling a method and we are passing one argument. This is what we are doing since couple of years, right? Since Java born, this is there. This is nothing new. We are creating an implementation for a consumer and we are passing that as an argument. That is step 1. In step 2, instead of assigning it to a variable and passing that a variable, what you can do, you can directly pass this implementation as an argument. You can directly pass this implementation as an argument. Okay, and in step 3, what you have to do, you have to convert this anonymous inner class to a lambda expression. That is step 3. And in step 4, what you have to do, you have to simplify the lambda expression. So if you see only one argument is passing, then remove the parentheses. If your lambda expression body is one line, remove the curly braces. If your lambda expression sometimes return something, then remove return statement also. So that is what is the simplified version of lambda expression. So if I run the code, let me delete all this code. Okay, when I say delete, I'll put it somewhere. Okay, I will give you back. Yeah. So what I will do, I'll call something like this. I'll call something like this, and I run the code. Whatever the output we got with this, all the for loops, right? All the for loops, first for loop, enhanced for loop, or step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, right? All these are equivalent to the simple lambda expression. Okay, simple lambda expression. For more significant way of doing these things are something like this. Okay, again assignment, calling it not required. Let's change the details, right? Let's change the flow. Now creating a list and calling for each also become a single line. I have to semicolon. Yeah. Array list as list. Okay, and calling for each. Yes, we are passing the consumer. And the semicolon last. Okay, now let's simplify why this is not allowed. Yes. Okay, now things become a single line and run the code till it is works fine, right? Instead of writing 4 or 5 lines of code, this is what you have to write, right? This is how you should write your Java 8 code. We're not supposed to write a simple for each iteration. We no need to write 4 lines, 5 lines, right? No, that is not the way of doing functional program. When it is a functional programming, you have to call chaining, right? Chaining. So this snippet, whatever I selected, This is equivalent to line number 10. Line number 10. And the snippet, whatever I selected now, this is equivalent to line number 30. Instead of doing those two lines, what you have to do? You have to club them and you must call as a one line. Must call as a one line. But okay, as we are page number 1, let's do separately, right? Let's do separately. So first define a variable list and call that method and pass the lambda expression. Okay, so this is how we usually do it in lambda expressions with respect to Java 1.8. Okay, so I'll put all these things back for your understanding purpose. Okay, whatever I did just now, it is what an assignment for you guys. Iterate an array list using JDK 1.0 feature till 1.4. So you use for loop, right? Iterate an array list using JDK 1.0, JDK 1.5, and JDK 1.8. Right? There are totally 3 ways: 1.0, 1.5, and 1.8. Right? So this is the most simplified, simplified version of lambda expression. Right? You're not supposed to do this. No. For learning purpose, okay, it is acceptable, but for in your project, especially whenever you are writing the code in your project, you have to do something like this. So how this got converted into like this, right? So we step by step we converted it, right? So you must understood, okay, step 1, we created a consumer and we passed. Step 2, instead of creating separately and passing that as an argument, I directly created consumer inside this method call itself. Yes. Step number 3, converted this anonymous inner class to a lambda expression. Step number 4, most simplified version of lambda expression. Okay, so this is very, very, very important to understand, especially whatever I wrote, right? The last line. It's very, very, very important to understand, because we don't even do it in 2 lines. You know, maybe in the real-time projects we don't even do it in 2 lines. What we do, we prefer calling it chaining. Most of the times we go with the chaining. Okay, so this is what we used to do. Array list dot as list. So first we are creating a list, then we are calling a for each method. First we are creating the list, then we are calling the for each method. So as part of for each method, what we are doing, we are expecting to print the data on the console. We are expecting to print the data in the console. So this is what is a lambda expression in JDK 1.8. It is very, very important to understand this. Then only you feel comfortable with the streams, right? You have to understand this line number 50. Right? It's one line. I split it into multi-line for easy understanding. But if I just put it in one line, it still works fine. Right? It is one line of statement. We are creating an array list. And we are printing the array list in the console by calling iteration, by doing an iteration. So which one makes you feel comfortable? JDK 1.0 or JDK 1.5 or JDK 1.8? Hello, friends?
No, if we are good in JDK 1.8,
Yes.
then that would be better.
Yes,
But
exactly.
Sunil, is there a performance benefit between this for each and this for?
Yeah, as I already said,
Yeah.
with respect to JDK 1.8, you don't get much performance using this lambdas, right? But once we upgrade it to JDK 11, yeah, you see the noticeable performance difference. Yes. Maybe in the future you get the benefit, but you don't see the benefit now. Okay, so we call this first, right, till line number 50 or till line number 40. Yeah.
Sunil, not about the benefit wise, but do we use stuff for if we use for each? Does it impact any performance and impact wise? I mean, it may cause more performance issues or anything kind of.
No. It won't degrade the performance. Whatever the performance is there, you still have the same performance. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, we are writing these for loops, enhanced for loops in so many years. We feel comfortable, but we are doing especially this old version of for loop, right? If somebody is asking, can you write a for loop, you will write within fraction of seconds, right? Maybe in nanoseconds also you may complete this coding. But we are doing so many complication things here, right? We are doing so many complication things, like you might have overlooked, and instead of doing less than, you might have did some kind of greater than. Then you have to spend a lot of time to debug this issue, right? It might be some typo issue, right? So instead of typing this character, we would have typed this character. Then your for loop won't get executed, right? Your for loop won't get executed. Then the data won't be printed on the console. Then you have to debug the code, right? So so like this kind of complexities we have with these old version of for loop, even with enhancer for loop also. So these are all external for loops, right? Instead of writing an external for loop, try to write an inner for loop, right? Which means we must call a method and somebody will write an iteration logic for us, right? Somebody will iterate that collection for us. That is what we have to do. Okay, and for simple example purpose, I took a list and I'm iterating it, right? When we go and learn about streams, that movie is completely different. You know, I'll show a complex scenario. I take a list of numbers, then I will filter the even numbers, then I will double the value of even numbers, right? Then I will sort it, then I will print it, right? I go for a complicated scenario with the help of a stream. But before we jump into the stream, you must understood uh, how we are doing this with lambda expression, right? A simple task. But in like I almost covered all the ways of doing this. JDK 1.0, JDK 1.5. In JDK 1.8 itself, I didn't take you to this level, right? I just first wrote an object of consumer and passed that consumer. Next, instead of doing that assignment, I'm just passing the anonymous inner class directly. Later we converted this into a lambda expression, then most simplified version of lambda expression, right? Later, instead of creating a list and calling the for each separately, now we are doing chaining. Okay, so this is what we usually do with respect to Java 8 in your projects. We do use more chaining. Is this clear, guys? What I'm trying to explain here? Any questions? Any doubts? Any confusions? It's a correct time to ask actually, because once we jump into streams, the things become more complicated. Okay, so I think no questions, right? Everybody is clear what I'm trying to do. Any questions here?
No, sir.
Okay. What about others? Abhiram, Jagadish,
No.
Chintesh, Venkat, Jupudi.
No.
Okay. So hope we are good. We are good with lambda expressions. Okay. Then it's time to learn one of the most powerful concept of Java 8 called stream. Okay, stream. Let me check the code. Somewhere I wrote that. Yeah, here is the place. Okay. Okay. So I don't write this time. I just directly show you how the things will work. Okay. So look at this. This is what is the list which we created, right? So random numbers, right? Random numbers 1, 4, 3, 2, 7, 6, 9. So we got some list where we have random numbers. So my requirement is iterating these random numbers, right? And I identify I'll delete this complete code. Yeah. Let's go step by step. Okay. So let's use older version of Java, right? Let's use older version of Java, or else let's use JDK 1.5 at least. So my requirement is this. Yesterday, whatever the assignment I gave it. Okay. So first identify even numbers, right? Identify even numbers. Once you identify even numbers, what you have to do? Once you identify the even numbers, then you have to double those even numbers, like square, right? Double the value. Then finally sort. We don't have we have an unsorted list, right? Let's sort, and finally print the data on the console. Such a complicated task, right? So let's do something like this. What we have to do? We have to take each number from these numbers. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Now we got each number. Now, if the number is, what if the number is even number? So how can we check that? If number is dividable by 2, then it is an even number. Then we have to double the value, right? So int doubled value equals to number into number, right? Yes, number into number. So now the problem is I'm directly modifying the existing list, right? I'm directly modifying the existing list. So instead of doing that, what should we do? We should we should create another list and assign it. But okay, let's do the direct list modification because our target is not learning the Java 1.5 features, right? Our target is learning Java 8 features. Okay, so here I'm directly modifying the existing itself. So here,
Sunil, just, you need number into 2, right? Just to double. This one.
yeah, into 2 also fine, or number also fine. Like if I pass 2, I get 4. If I pass 4, I should get 8, right? It's square. I'm just doing a square. Yeah, after this for loop, what should I do? I should call this collections dot sort. Yeah, anything is fine. Into 2 also fine, or number into number also fine. Okay. Yeah, number into number will give a square. Yeah, number into 2 will give a double level. Okay. Sort of this collections, right? Yeah, now we are sorting that. And finally, I'm going to print these numbers, right? So how you're going to print this? You will write another enhanced for loop, print the data, right? So what we do, do something like this.
You need to sort to double value, I think, not numbers.
We are modifying the existing list itself, right? We are modifying the existing numbers itself. Or we have to delete, right? If it is not an even number, then you should delete it from this array list. Yeah, numbers dot remove the number. Yeah. So finally, we'll get the numbers which has only even numbers, and we have to iterate it, right? Number colon numbers, right? Then print that on the console. Now, if I run this program,
I think you should do number equal to number into 2, right?
Yeah.
sure, number equals to number into 2. Yes. Okay. Finally, print this one. Okay, but still it looks fine. See, we got some complicated exception, right? Unsupported operation exception. Yesterday we saw. So sometimes you see concurrent modification exception also, right? Whenever you modify existing list, we get some kind of problem. So what we will do, we will create another list, right? Output equals to new array list. Whenever we want to modify an existing list, it's always better to use new list or iterable, right? Older version of iterable. Otherwise, you will get concurrent modification exception. Okay, array list. And instead of modifying an existing list, what I will do, I go for a safe operation, right? I will double the number, int double the number. I will set this number okay. Finally, I will sort this output and I will iterate the output. I will print on the console. See, it worked, right? 4, 8, 12. Because if I try to modify an existing list, There are some other concurrent modification exceptions also will come, right? So we have to use iterable. So it will take into a different path, right? It will take us into a different path. So instead of doing that, what I did, I simply created a new list and there I set it, right? So yeah, so finally, anyway, we got our expected output, right? So we wrote, yeah, we got only even numbers which got doubled and finally sorted, right? Finally sorted. So we have even numbers 2, 4, 6. So that's why we got 4, 8, 12. Still it is fine, right? So yeah, you can do it in many ways. You can use iterable something you can do. That is up to your technical skill. That is fine. Okay. So I'm going with a simpler version, right? So this is how we usually do, right? Whatever the task we have given, identify even numbers, doubling it, sorting it, printing it. Is it clear, guys? Yeah, it is straightforward Java code, right? It should be clear. Yeah. Yeah. Now let's do all these things. Let's do all these things using JDK 1.8. So whatever the code we have written here, let's delete this, right? Let's delete when I said delete. Let's put it somewhere else. If I use streams, you don't need to worry about all these for loops, sorting, collection, calling, sorting. Okay, so we can do all the tasks using a simple, very simple API called stream. Okay, so this is present inside a new package, java.util.stream. This package itself is completely introduced in JDK 1.8 version, and stream is not a class; it is an interface, right? This is newly introduced interface, okay, as part of JDK 1.8. And there are so many implementations are available. There are so many implementations are available for this stream. You no need to worry about which implementation you're going to use, right? As this is an interface, you no need to create an object, right? So you can call numbers dot stream method, right? Numbers dot stream method. So you will get an object of stream. Now you will get an object of stream. So you don't need to worry who is going to provide implementation, right? You don't need to bother, right? Because this is already implemented by JDK people. Right now we are in Java 8. Though the collection is an interface, still you can get an object of stream. How? Java supports default implementation, and Java people itself, they are providing implementation for stream. We don't need to write any implementation. We can happily use existing streams. Okay. So now I got an object of stream, right? Before we jump into, before we playing with this stream, what you have to understand, stream is a kind of pipeline which doesn't hold the data. Stream is a kind of pipeline which doesn't hold the data, but it processes the data. For example, you have a tank, right, water tank, and you go and attach a water pipe. So you can consider the tank as this list, right? The tank is kind of collection which holds the data, and the pipeline which you can think it's like a stream, right? So by using that pipeline, you can get the water into your home wherever you want, right? So, but the pipeline doesn't hold the data, right? Pipeline doesn't hold the data. Who is going to hold the data? Again, it's a collection only. So what does this stream will do? Stream process the data at any point of time, right? Stream never holds the data. That is what we have to remember very carefully. So any method you call and stream, you will get a new stream object, right? Just go and see the methods which are present inside the stream, right? For example, very simple example which we already saw. Or let's go to map, right? Yeah, so you get a new object. Why you all the time get a new object whenever you are playing with the stream? Because stream will not hold any data. Stream will never hold any data. So you perform any operation on the stream, right? You must hold it using another stream. You must hold it using another stream, or you convert it into an output. There are two ways. Either you hold it into another stream, or you convert into an output, right? If you attach a pipe to your tank, either you have to use it, or you have to attach one more pipe, right, to send it to another place, right? Because stream will not hold the data. Stream will never ever hold the data. So again, the data is going to be holded again back by the collections. That is the reason why we use streams with the collections. You can't use streams without collections. Okay, you can't use streams without collections. Either you have to use stream with the collection, or you can use with the arrays also, because arrays is one flavor of collection, right? Arrays class is one flavor of collection. So stream will always work with the collections. Stream can't work individually. Streams can't work individually. So if you create a stream by using stream of, that is also fine. Okay, sometimes you do see code like this, so don't get confused. You are creating a stream directly and you are playing with a stream directly, right? Stream off, this is also possible, but internally it creates a collection, right? Whenever you call stream off, and it internally creates a collection only. So streams cannot be used individually, they have to be called with collection. Okay, they have to be called with collection, because stream will never hold the data. Stream processes the data. Okay, let's see how the stream is going to process the data. How the stream is going to process the data. So first thing what I wanted to do, I want to identify, right? I want to identify the even numbers. That is what is my first task. Okay, so my first task is identify even numbers. So what we are doing here, how you usually do it, how you will identify an even number, how you gonna identify an even numbers out of this list,
Filter.
right? You write some if condition, right? If some condition true, then that is an even number. If it is false, then it is an that is a odd number, right? So you gonna check some condition, right? You gonna check some condition. So when you want to check some condition, then you have to use filter. We already discussed this, right? What is filter? Filter is a predefined, sorry, not filter, predicate. Yeah, we have to use predicate, right? We already discussed this yesterday itself. Predicate is a predefined Java functional interface, and we use predicate to define conditions. To define conditions. That is the reason why the return type of predicate is always Boolean. The return type of predicate is always Boolean. So whenever you write some if condition, something like this, right? So what condition you perform, it's up to you, right? What condition you want to evaluate inside this if, it's up to you. But finally that condition, either it has to return true or it has to return false. What condition you want to evaluate, it's up to you. You check a user name starts with some character or not, or whether the user entered password is correct or not, right? You do check some condition. It's up to your business logic what you check, but finally you have to return a Boolean value, either true or false. Otherwise you will get a compilation error, right? Whenever you perform any condition, either you have to return it true or false inside your if, right? If you try to return some string from your condition, right, then you will get a compilation error, right? Mismatch, cannot convert string to Boolean. The allowed value for if is only Boolean. Either you have to return true or false. Either you have to return true or false. So wherever you write a condition, right? Usually why do we write a condition? To filter some data, right? If I wanted to identify events, only events from this number, then I have to write a condition. So when you have to write a condition, then you can use predicate. Wherever you are writing a condition, there you can use predicate. Okay. So first write the condition. Predicate. And what type of data it's going to take? It's going to take integer. So even condition check equals to, can I write a lambda expression directly, or can I write an anonymous class and convert into a lambda expression? What you feel comfort? Hello? Abhi,
Write lambda expression.
Lambda is
okay, I'm going to write the lambda expression directly. So my predicate is going to take a number, and it will check whether that number is the type of even or not, right? Most simplified version of lambda. It's gonna take a number type and it will check whether that number is even or not. It's gonna take a number and it will check whether that is even or not. Okay, so this is what is my predicate. If you don't understand this, then start something like this. New predicate. Okay, if you don't understand this, start, write anonymous in the class first. Okay, so override the method which is present inside anonymous in the class and check the condition. Return. Okay, so t is divisible to or 2 or not. Okay, if it is divisible by 2, then it will return true. If it is not divisible by 2, then it will return false, right? So instead of writing anonymous inner class and doing these many things, you can simply write a lambda expression. So I'm going to define one more predicate. Okay, one more predicate. So these both are same. There is no difference. First predicate and second predicate, there is no difference at all. First predicate or second predicate, these two are same. There is no difference at all. Okay, so as we are new to lambda expression, start something like this, right? First write an anonymous inner class for predicate, then try to convert that into a lambda expression. So how we want to convert this into a lambda expression? Remove this new predicate integer declaration, because we are providing left hand side itself, we are saying, right, we are providing implementation for predicate. Then specifying implementation type is completely optional, right? And scope is by default public, and return type is boolean, because predicate has only one abstract method. Predicate has only one abstract method. When it has only one abstract method, you know the signature of that method, right? You know the signature, what it's going to return, what is the name of the method, and what type of argument it's going to take. But you must add an arrow between parameters and implementation, right? So this is one level of lambda expression. So if you remove exactly one parameter we are passing, then remove the parentheses, and our implementation is exactly one line, then remove the curly braces and remove the return statement. Right? Let's convert this into more simplified version of predicate. Then it becomes something like this, right? Instead of t, give some meaningful word, right? Number. It's going to take number and it will verify whether it is even number or not. Okay, so that's how you should start, right? Directly, if you are able to understand, write the lambda expression directly. If you are not able to understand, then create an anonymous inner class, then convert it into a lambda expression. Okay, yeah. So now we wrote the predicate condition, right? Now we wrote the predicate condition. So to filter the data, right? To get only even numbers from this list, right? To get only even numbers from this list, what you have to do, you have to call a method called filter, and see the signature of the method. See, it's gonna take predicate, and it will return another string, right? It's gonna return another string. Why it's going to return another string? Because stream will process the data, right? Stream is going to process the data. It will never ever hold it, right? So that's why we're going to return another string. So whatever the predicate you are creating here, you just pass something like this. You just pass something like this, and you will get another stream. You will get another stream where you have even numbers, right? So let's name it as even stream. So in this stream, you are going to have only even numbers because we are filtering, right? Because we are filtering. What filter we are applying? Even condition, right? Even condition filter. If you just change it, if you want to get only odd numbers, not even numbers, then not equals to 0, then you will get odd numbers, right? So it is a condition. What condition you pass, based on that the data will, it's going to be filtered. Based on that the data is going to be filtered. Till this point of time, is it clear for everybody? Would you able to understand? Now first we got the stream, then we filtered the data. So what filter condition we applied? Even numbers. So now even stream is going to have only even numbers. Is it clear?
Sir.
Okay. Now let's double the value, right? Let's double the value. Now doubling means whatever the data we got, we want to apply some mapping, right? Yes, Chintesh, do you have any question?
No, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So now we got even numbers. So at this point of time, when the JVM executes line number 30, we have data 4, 2, 6. Right? What data we have? 4, 2, 6. Now we want to double this value, right? 4 to 6 needs to become 8, 4, 12, right? Now next we want to apply one more operation, right? One more operation. So now my operation is for each item, right? For each item, double the value. Take each item and double the value, right? So whenever you want to apply some kind of operation for each element which is present inside a collection, right? So my requirement is applying an operation for each element which is inside collection. Then what should you do? You should call stream.map operator. So how does this map will work? How does this map will work? So it will take each element from the collection, right? Output stream. It will take each item. It will take each item, and whatever the operation you pass it, that operation is going to be applied. For example, let's look at the signature, right? What it's going to take? It's going to take a function, right? So it's going to take a function. So let's go to the function. So function takes any type and returns any type. So inside this function implementation, what you write is your business logic. So let's write the function, right? Let's double the value. So we need to create the function, right? We need to create the function. So input integer, output is integer. So we're going to pass number and output also number. Input is number, output is number. So double function. Okay, let's import this. So let's write anonymous inner class, right? Anonymous inner class first. Okay, anonymous inner class first. Then what I wanted to do, I wanted to double the value. So t into 2, right? I'm just gonna double the value. If I pass 4, I'll get 8. If I pass 2, I'll get 4. If I pass 6, I'll get 12. Right? So what we are doing, we are simply doubling the value. So now I wrote an anonymous inner class. Now let's convert this into a lambda expression. So what should we do? We will remove this line number first and last, and you can remove this override, right? Scope not required, return type not required. Why it is not required? Why I'm just deleting it? How compiler is going to know what return type I'm going to return? Come
It's
on,
the
guys.
function interface and
Functional and tuple.
Exactly. So here I'm specifying, right? My input is integer, my return type is an integer. If I don't use generics, then I will get a compilation error, right? So you always needs to use lambda expressions with generics. Otherwise, your compiler can't know, right? Compiler can't decide what you are going to return, right? That is the problem. So how compiler is understanding? Here itself I am saying, okay, I'm going to take input as integer, output as integer. So when you say left hand side itself what you can return, then the return type can be deleted. Function name is always dummy. Okay, in lambda expressions, with respect to lambda expressions, function names always dummy. And what type we gonna take? Here itself we are specifying, then type also not required. So what should we add extra is this CR. What should we add extra? This CR. And the argument count is 1. Remove the parenthesis. The implementation is exactly 1 line. Remove the curly braces. So doubling value is this much easy. See, I pass some number. Okay, remove the t, give some meaningful variable. I pass the number and I'm going to double the number. Okay, I'm going to double the number. So to double the number for each element which is present inside this event stream, we should pass this function to map. Map. Again, map is going to return what? Again, map is going to return another string, right? Let's go to the method signature of map. We're going to get another string because map is stream is never will never have hold the data, right? Will never hold the data. So you must catch the string. Once you perform the operation, you must catch the stream. And what type of stream it's going to return? It's going to return an integer stream. And what we can mark this as a double string, right? Double string. So now we got a stream which got filtered even numbers, and after that which got doubled the value. Still not sorted. We have data like this: 8, 4, then 6, 8, 4, 6, right? Yeah. Now we want to sort this data, right? We want to sort this data. I hope you remembered the difference between comparable and comparator, right? I hope you remembered the difference between comparable, and we also have one more interface, comparator, right? Comparable is present inside java.lang and comparator is present inside java.util. So when we use comparable and when we use comparator,
If we want to sort like with more than one value, then we will go for comparator. Like we can sort it based on like ID, name, or whatever we want. We can have more than one sorting. So in that case, we will go for comparator. And comparable, it is like basic sort, like one with only one thing we can sort, either with ID or so comparable, and that's what.
okay. So I'll explain in a different way. So there are few classes which already provided implementation for comparable. Okay, this is an interface. Comparable is interface, comparator is interface. But the difference where we use comparable and where we use comparator is there are few implementations are already present in Java for comparable, but no implementations for comparator. Okay, so wherever you try to sort comparable implementations, let's see what are all the classes which implements comparable. String implemented comparable, integer implemented comparable, all wrapper classes, string wrapper classes, right? These classes are already implemented comparable. So see, byte is a wrapper class, boolean is a wrapper class, big integer, big decimal, right? We also have character, character, right? And we also have, what is this? IBM is fully implemented, huh? Char set. Yeah, we have date, right? We have string. Somewhere you can see string also. I can type here so that will fit. Right? String, right? So integer, double, all wrapper classes with respect to Java. I am speaking all wrapper classes, right? What when I say wrapper class, what are all those? Integer, long, double, boolean, byte, right? Character, float, double, all these are wrapper classes. So all the wrapper classes are already implemented comparable, including string, right? If you try to sort those data, so here what I am trying to sort an integer, right? I am trying to sort an integer, so I can use comparable, right? I can use comparable, but sometimes we may get a requirement to sort employees by name, right? I want to get a list of employees from the DB and sort by using their IDs, right? So employee is a custom class which is not implemented comparable. Then we go for comparator sorting. right? Where you go for customizing sorting, right? Employees by their name, employees there by IDs, right? Mobile numbers. You go to Amazon.com and our most favorite sorting is what? Price low to high. Not all. I used to do that most of the time, right? I go if I want to buy a mobile, most probably what I will do, I go to any e-commerce site and I do sort price low to high and I compare the features, what is the low price is providing and what is high price is providing, right? So when you do a sorting, right? So price sorting, mobiles price by sorting or some other gadget, right? Maybe some any kind of product, right? And maybe TVs, maybe refrigerators, right? Any kind of thing, any kind of entity. If you go for a customized sorting, then hello, hello, am I audible, guys? Sorry, I joined back. Some network disconnect. Hello, Vijay, am I
Your voice
audible?
is breaking.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, Sunil.
I connected using mobile data. Okay, I connected using mobile data. Yeah, so what we will do, it's already 10:30, right? So can we continue the remaining topic tomorrow? Because actually I wanted to complete this due to all these power problems and network problems. Somehow I couldn't able to complete. So from like tomorrow, what I will do, I will refresh whatever we discussed today, whatever we wrote predicate, whatever we wrote function, because we are not yet done with the task, right? We need to sort and we need to print the data. So still there are two more levels we have, and now we are doing the things by splitting it, right? So tomorrow I will show the most, uh, the best way of doing these things. Okay. So can we continue tomorrow? Sorry guys, sorry, I didn't expect this kind of
Okay, Sunil, fine.
yeah,
It's fine, Sunil.
yeah. Or else if you
Yes,
are
Sunil, no issue.
if you are
We'll
okay, my
continue tomorrow.
audio is fine. We will continue with mobile data, but I don't think it will be good because some kind of audio problem will come. Shall we continue like 10
Yeah,
minutes?
it is not that clear.
Yeah. That's that's why. So okay.
Sunil, it is not clear. I think we will continue tomorrow.
Yeah. Sure. So tomorrow at same time, 8:15, we already have meeting invitation. Sorry, we already have meeting invitation, right? Yeah, it's the same time. I will check what is going wrong. I think some network upgrade is happening. It seems to be the act. People are doing some change uh, nearby. So due to that, some network. Uh, we will discuss tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Sorry for the
Yeah.
inconvenience which caused it today. See you tomorrow. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Sunil.
Sunil.